Hey guys, welcome back to the channel again. Many of you asked me again to make a video about how to install Arch Linux on VirtualBox. I did a video a few months ago, but it's a little bit old, and so I decided to make a new one, so let's get going. So I'm assuming here you already downloaded your Arch ISO, so we can boot up VirtualBox, and we can click on New. Now I put a name to the machine, I'll call mine Arch. And it's going to be detected automatically as Arch Linux. And if you want to save your virtual machine in another folder, you can go ahead and specify that. But for me, this is fine. And I can click Next. Now here we can select how much RAM you want to give to our machine. On this side, you'll see the max RAM you can give. And you can orient yourself also with this green bar. So in my case right now, it's 1 gig, but I want to go up to 4 gigabytes. And you can adjust this, of course, accordingly. And I'm going to click Next. Now I want to create a new virtual disk, so this option is fine, and I click Create. And it is a VDI image, so that's fine, and I click Next. Now it's gonna be dynamically allocated, that's fine for me, so I'll just click Next. And here I can choose the size of the disk. Right now it's 8 gigabytes, it's a little bit too small, so I'm gonna bump this up to 128 gigs and then click Create. And so our machine is now created. So we need to still adjust some things. So let's click on Settings. The first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to System, and I'm going to enable here EFI. So this is useful if you want to, of course, have a system which is a UEFI system. In case you want to have an MBR system, you can skip this step. However, the grab installation will be slightly different. For this tutorial, I'm going to choose UEFI. So I'm just going to click this box. And under processor here, we can bump up the processor numbers. On the right side here, you can see the max. Right now I have only one processor. I'm going to bump up this up to 4. And then I'm going to go under Display. Now this is where it gets tricky. Depending also on your machine, the graphics controller here will play a big role on your Arch Linux installation as a guest. So I know, for example, on my machine, it's going to work with VirtualBox SVGA and not with Virtual Machine SVGA. So I'm going to switch this to VirtualBox SVGA. It's probably likely that it's going to be the same for you. We have an invalid setting detected here, but that's going to work fine. And I want to also increase the video memory here. I'm going to go up to the max possible. Now, the next thing I want to do is to go under Network, change this to Bridged Adapter, and go to Advanced. And as promiscuous mode, I'm going to go to Allow All. This is because I want to have an IP from where I can log in via SSH. And since in this machine, maybe later I want to install maybe something like Nextcloud, I wanted to have a local IP. And the last thing I want to do under Storage is we need to attach the Arch ISO we just downloaded. So I'm just going to click this and click on the icon. And then I have already my Arch Linux ISO here, but if you don't, you can click on Choose a Disk File, navigate when your ISO is, for example, in my case, it's right here, and then click Open, and then we can click OK. Now we can click on Start, and the Arch ISO is booting up, so I'm going to minimize here the VirtualBox window, and I'm going to maximize this window here, and then hit Enter. It's going to take a moment to boot up, and there you go. Now, the first thing I need to do here, because I cannot do anything else otherwise, is to change my keyboard layout. So if you don't know how to find your locale, you can type in locale, CTL, and then list dash key maps, and then the pipe symbol and the grep function to narrow down the search. Now, my keyboard is a Swiss keyboard, which connotation is CH. So I'm going to type in CH and hit Enter. And I need the first one, DE_CH. So to load that in memory, I'll type in load keys and then the string. So DE_CH -Latin1 and hit Enter. There you go. We can clean up the terminal. Now I can see well on my display here, but if the fonts are too small for you, we could also increase them, or we could also do the installation via SSH. I'm going to show you in this tutorial how you can install via SSH on your VirtualBox. So to do this, the first thing we need is to synchronize our server. So let's type in sudo pacman-syy, and then 2 packages we will need. One is Reflector, and the other one is OpenSSH, and hit Enter. It's going to take a moment to do that. And we can press Enter to install. There you go. Now we have an IP here because we are connected via VirtualBox. So you should have an IP as well, as the internet connection comes directly through your PC. Now we can clean up the terminal and enable actually SSH by typing in systemctl start sshd and hit Enter. Now we need to give a password to the root user of the ISO, which is normally blank. So we can type in passwd and then select your password and retype it. And let's find out the IP address by typing in IP space A. And as you can see here, I have an IP ending with 75. So what I want to do now is to pull up my terminal, and I'm going to minimize for now VirtualBox and go full screen on my terminal. And I'm going to clean it up, and I'm going to type in here SSH and then root and the address we just saw. So 192.168.178.75 and hit enter. Accept the fingerprint by typing yes and entering the password we just entered. And now we are on the root ISO. So we can proceed now with the installation normally. Now we have an internet connection. We did everything we needed for now. The first thing we can do here is to type in time date ctl set-ntp and then true to synchronize the network time protocol and hit enter. Now we installed Reflector and we need that in order to create our mirror list and have the fastest server available. So let's type in Reflector -C for country. My country is Switzerland, so you will replace this accordingly. -A for the age. I'm going to search for servers which have been updated for 6 hours, and then --sort. I'm going to sort them by speed, so rate, and --save to save this in our mirror list directory, which is /etc/pacman.d/mirrorlist, and hit enter. Now we can refresh the servers by typing in pacman-syy and hit enter, and there you go. Now let's type in lsblk. We have our disk here, which is called SDA. It's 128 gigabytes. This is what I created before. So we need to create the partitions. So in this tutorial, I'm going to create, because it's a EFI system, I'm going to create a EFI partition and a root home partition. And later during the installation, I'm going to create a swap file. Now let's begin by typing in gdisk. Gdisk is the partitioning utility for creating GPT tables, and then /dev/sda and hit enter. Now type in n for new and hit enter. Partition number default 1 is fine, so I hit enter. First sector is also fine. And the last sector is the size of the partition basically. So I want to have the 200 megabytes EFI partition. So I'll type in +200, capital M, and hit enter. Now we need to define the type. So I know the EFI system type is EF00 and then hit enter. Now we need to create the second partition. So let's type in n for new and hit enter. Default partition number 2 is fine. First sector is fine. And also the last sector, because I want this partition to take the remainder of the disk, so we'll just hit enter here. And the code is also fine, so we can hit enter. And the partitions are done, so we need to write the changes to the disk, so we'll type in W and hit enter, and proceeding by typing Y and hit enter. And now the partition table has been written. So we can clean up the terminal and type lsblk, and you can see now we have SDA1, 200 megabytes, SDA2, the rest of the disk. So we created the partitions, now we need to format them. So it's a EFI system, SDA1 is our EFI partition, and it has to be formatted as a FAT file system type. So we'll type in mkfs.fat, and then -f32, we want to specify it's a 32 FAT file system type, and then /dev/sda1, and hit enter. Now let's format SDA2, we'll type in mkfs.ext4, this is the file system type I choose. You can choose another one if you wish to do so, but I'm going to install it with ext4 because it's one of the most mature file systems. And then the partition name, so /dev/sda2, and hit enter. And this is done, so let's clean up the terminal. And now we need to mount these partitions. So let's first mount SDA2 because it's our installation partition. So we'll type in mount /dev/sda2, and the directory to mount is /mount because it's our installation directory, and hit enter. Now we want to mount SDA1 into the boot directory, which is not existing yet. In this tutorial, I'm going to create a boot EFI directory. So to do this, I'm going to type in mkdir for make directory -p. This gives us the option to create multiple directories at the same time, and then /mount. Then the first directory I want to create is boot and also EFI, and hit enter. Now we can mount SDA1 in here. So we'll type in mount /dev/sda1 and then /mount /boot/EFI, and hit enter. There you go. lsblk. We'll see our mount points here, so everything looks fine, and we can proceed by the installation of the base packages. So let's type in pacstrap, then /mount, our installation directory. So we want to install the base package. I'm going to install the Linux package for the latest kernel, and also Linux-firmware. And I want to install also editor, in my case Vim. And we don't need to install actually any specific processor package here on VirtualBox, and then we can just hit enter. So it's going to take a moment here to download and install the packages, and I'll be back when it's done. There you go, the packages are installed. So let's clean up the terminal. We need to now generate the file system table. So to do this, we'll type in gen fstab, then dash capital U, so based on the UUID of the partitions, /mount, and we append this information to /mount /etc /fstab, and hit enter. Now we can have a look at the fstab and see what's in there. So we can type in cat /mount /etc /fstab and hit enter. And you see we have here our root partition with its UUID, the mount point, the file system type options, and also our EFI partition. So the fstab looks fine. So we can clean up the terminal. And now we need to enter the installation by typing in arch-root and then /mount and hit enter. There you go. Let's clean up the terminal. First thing we need to do now is to create a swap file. Now, because of recent changes in the kernel, I'm going to create a swap file not with the fallocate command, but with the dd command. So I'll type in dd and then if equal /dev/0 of equal /swap file, then bs equal 1G. So the base is basically 1 gigabyte. Now, if you don't want to create such a big swap file, you can go for 1 megabyte as a base and then specify the size afterwards. But I want to create a 2 gigabyte, so I'll type in here 1G, and then the count is going to be, in my case, 2. So I'm going to create 2 blocks of 1 gigabyte, so 2 gigabyte swap file. And then the last option is status equal progress. And then we can hit enter. So there you go, the swap file is created. Now we need to change the permissions of it by typing in chmod 600 and then /swap file and hit enter. Now we can make the swap by typing in mkswap and then /swap file and hit enter, and activate it by typing in swap on /swap file and hit enter. Now we need to put the swap file also in the fstab file, so we can type in vim /etc /fstab and hit enter. We'll go down here to the empty space and I'll create a new line, and the first one is /swap file. Then the mount point is none. File system type is swap. Options are defaults. And the file system checks are 0 and 0. And then we can save the file and exit Vim. And we can clean up the terminal. Now let's work on the time zone. To find out our time zone, we can use the command time date ctl list-time zones. And then a pipe symbol. Use the grep function again to narrow down the search. So the city closest to me is Zurich, and hit enter. And I have only one zone here, so I need to put this in the system, and I can type in ln-sf /user/share/zone-info/Europe/Zurich, and we're going to link this information to /etc/local time, and hit enter. Now we can synchronize the two clocks, the hardware clock and the system clock, so hw clock --sys to hc and hit enter. And now we can work on our locales. So let's type in vim /etc/locale.gen and hit enter. So we can find here our locales. I'm looking for English US, so I'm going to scroll down here with Control F. And I'm going to select this one here with the line UTF-8. So I'm just going to uncomment this line and then save and quit Vim. And now we can generate the locales by typing in locale-gen and hit enter. And there you go. Now we need to create the locale.com file with this information. So let's type in echo lang equal en_us.utf-8. And we're going to append this information to /etc/locale.conf and hit enter. Now, if you change also the key map at the beginning of the video, we'll need to put also this in the vconsole.com file. So let's type in echo key map equal the key map we chose at the beginning. In my case, it was de_ch-latin1. And then we're going to append this information to /etc/vconsole.conf and hit enter. There you go. Let's clean up the terminal and work on the host name. So let's type in vim /etc/hostname and hit enter. And let's call my machine here arch vb for VirtualBox, and then save and quit vim. And also the host file, so vim /etc/hosts and hit enter. I'll go down here to the empty space and type in the IPv4 address 127 .0.0.1 and then a tab and then localhost. The next line, the IPv6 address, colon, 1, tab, and then localhost again. And in the last line, 127.0.1.1, our host name, in my case, is archvb, you'll change this accordingly, .local domain, and then a tab again, and then our host name, archvb. And then we can save and exit Vim. Now let's give a password to the root user. So we'll type in passwd and hit enter the new password, and retype it. Now it's time to install the bootloader and some other packages. So let's begin by typing in pacman-s. Grub is the first package, our bootloader, and because it's an EFI system, we need to also install EFI boot mgr. And I'm going to install also network manager and also network-manager-applet. I'm going to install also dialog and os-prober just in case. And I'm going to install also two packages for FAT file systems. One is mtools and also DOS fstools. And two development packages. One is base-devel and also linux-headers. And we don't have any Bluetooth in our virtual machine, so I'm not going to install those. But I want to install CUPS, our printing system, just in case. And I'm going to install also Reflector. Also OpenSSH, because I'm going to need this later anyway. And I'm going to install Git for Yay eventually. And I'm going to install also xdg-utils and also xdg-user-dirs. And I'm going to install also VirtualBox-guests-utils, which is going to install the packages needed for the virtual machine. And for now, we can hit enter. Accept the defaults here and proceed with the installation by hitting enter. Well, as you can see here, it's asking us to import PGP keys. So I'm going to press enter here twice. And now it's going to proceed to install. So I'll be back in a second. There you go. The packages are installed. So let's clean up the terminal and let's install grub by typing in grub-install. Then --target for the target machine equal x86_64-EFI and then --EFI-directory. We need to specify the EFI directory, which is equal to /boot/EFI. We define this at the beginning. And then --bootloader-id equal grub. And hit enter. And there you go, grub is installed. So now we need to create a configuration file. So we can type in grub-mkconfig-o for the output goes under /boot/grub/grub.cfg and hit enter. There you go. Let's clean up the terminal and enable some services. So let's type in systemctl enable network manager so that we have internet when we boot up. Gonna pull up the last command with the up arrow and replace network manager here with sshd to have also OpenSSH available. The same thing goes again for the CUPS printing system. So I'm going to replace sshd here with org.cups.cupsd and hit enter. And let's clean up the terminal and create a new user. So I'll type in user add -m and then wheel and then the username, in my case my name, and hit enter. So creating a user with a user directory and belonging to the wheel group as well. Now let's give a password to Hermano. So we'll type in passwd and then the name and hit enter. Create a new password and retype it. Now let's give Hermano sudo privileges. So we can type in editor equal vim and then vice sudo and hit enter. Scroll down until we find the wheel group we just talked about. And that's the one which has the line all equal all. So we need to uncomment this line by deleting the hashtag and then save and quit Vim. There you go. Now we can exit the installation and return to the installer. And we can unmount all partitions by typing in umount -a and hit enter. And we can reboot the machine by typing in reboot and hit enter. And I'm going to go back also to my virtual machine here. And as you can see, we have Arch Linux available. So the installation of grub was successful. So we can boot up the machine here by hitting enter. And let's log in with the username and the password. There you go. Let's clean up the terminal and see if we have an IP. Let's type in IP space A. And I do have an IP here with 90, so Network Manager is started. And I should be able also to log in via SSH again, so I can type in this into the terminal one more time. So let me go back to my terminal and clean it up and type in SSH hermano at 192.168.178 and then 90 and hit enter. Accept the fingerprint and enter the password. And we are back into the installation. So let's clean up the terminal. So let's proceed now by installing the packages we need for the desktop environment. First, the graphics driver. So let's type in sudo pacman-s. Because we are installing a VirtualBox, we need to install xf86-video-vmware. And the display server is xorg. The display manager in my case is going to be lightdm. And lightdm needs a greeter, so I want to install lightdm-gtk-greeter. And I'm going to install xfce4 as a desktop environment, and also xfce4-goodies for some extra packages. And I'm going to install also Chromium, and maybe some themes. The first one is materia-gtk-theme, and some icon themes. So in my case, papyrus-icon-theme. And then hit enter. Accept the defaults here. Same for the second group, and also for the third one, and also for this one, and then we can proceed with the installation by hitting enter. So again, it's going to take a second here to download and install, and I'll be back when it's done. There you go, the packages are installed. Let's clean up the terminal, and we need to enable the lightdm display manager. So let's type in sudo systemctl enable lightdm and hit enter. And now we can reboot our machine, but we need to actually first exit the SSH. So I'll type in exit in here. And I'm going to close the terminal and go back to my virtual machine. And I will type in here reboot and hit enter. Now let's hit enter here to start the install. And we are greeted here by the lightdm display manager. So let's enter our password and hit enter. And here is XFCE. So let's go full screen here. Let's hit the mod key and F. In my case, it's the right control key. And then I'm just going to hit switch. And as you can see now, it's not full screen. So we can adjust this because we have already the drivers installed. So we can go to applications, settings, and then display. And we can select here the resolution, which is 1920x1080 in my case. And then click apply. And now I can keep this configuration and click close. Now what we can do here, we can go again to applications, then settings, you can go to appearance, for example, and go to Materia Dark. And for the icons, we can choose, for example, Papyrus Dark, which looks a little bit better. And click close. Let's right click here, go to desktop settings, and I'm going to choose another wallpaper, maybe it's this one right here. And there you go. And so we have a basic installation of Arch Linux on VirtualBox here with the XFCE desktop environment. Of course, you can install other desktop environments and other display manager if you choose to do so. Just install the packages you need. So this is how you can install Arch Linux on VirtualBox. It's a pretty simple installation and it works fairly well. However, I do have to say I really prefer KVM as a virtual machine, although VirtualBox, especially if you are on Windows and on Mac, it's definitely the best option. I hope you liked the video, guys. If you did, please hit the like button below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subs always helps us out. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by visiting our Patreon website, or you can donate via PayPal through our website as well. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.